Welcome back. This is Fantasy Central. I'm your host, Zach, and I'm here with our own fantasy guru, Jeffe. Say hello, Jeffe.
Hello, fantasy people.
Today, we're going to get into week 7 wire claims, must starts, and of course, those guys you just have to avoid playing. But first, we have a very important announcement to make. We are giving away a free, authentic NFL jersey from the NFL shop, player of your choice, to one lucky fan. That's right, an authentic NFL jersey on us. All you need to do is head over to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, click that little bell icon, and once we hit 1,000 subscribers, one lucky fan will win a jersey of their choice from the NFL shop. All right, let's get to it. Colts, Jags, Vikings, all on a bye this week. Plus, there were many more injuries in key positions over the weekend. If you're in need and you're looking at the waiver wire this week, who are you looking to pick up?
So this week, like you said, some more injuries and the bye weeks are starting to kick in where you're going to have 3, 4, 5 teams on byes. And so I'll start with the running backs here. Raheem Mostert, they're talking about putting him on IR. And when they put him on IR, I expect them to take not Jarek McKinnon, Tevin Coleman off IR. And Jarek McKinnon is probably going to be the lead back. Tevin Coleman probably going to be slow to get back in, but should have a role if he's in the lineup. So, pick up either of them. We know the 49ers like to run the ball. I also like Justin Jackson. It just looked like in the last game they played that they really favored Justin Jackson over Joshua Kelly for whatever reason, and he did all right. So as long as he's the lead back in this one, I like him. And another one that I haven't heard really a whole lot of people talking about is J.D. McKissick. He's a backup in Washington, which doesn't sound like a flattering spot to be, right? Backup running back on a really bad team, but he gets a lot of the pass production that comes out of the backfield. So you like that. Any kind of running back that has pass catching value, and he's been putting up double digits, anywhere between 12 and 14 points. So if you need somebody to fill in while somebody's on a bye or somebody gets hurt and you need somebody to fill in, then J.D. McKissick is a guy that can at least get you, right around 10 or 12 points. And the last running back I want to go after on waivers is going to be Boston Scott. Miles Sanders is hurt again. So Boston Scott going to be the starter there, presumably. So he's the guy to go after here for the running backs.
Yeah, earlier in the season when Miles Sanders got hurt, I kind of picked up Boston Scott, and there's a little bit of disappointment. So I'm not real sure how I feel about that, but I was looking. I think he is projected to do pretty well, so we'll see. As far as the other guys, I'm right there with you. J.D. McKissick's been playing well when he's been in, and you can never go wrong with one of the 49ers running backs. At any given time, any of them can snap off and have a good game. So who do you got for receivers?
So I think I'm pretty sure we had Travis Fulgham here last week, but he's somebody that looks like he's going to be very involved in what the Eagles are doing offensively. It'll be interesting to see what happens with him when Jalen Rager gets back in the lineup. Alshon Jeffrey should be somewhat close to coming back at any point. Deshaun Jackson's going to be back in the lineup. So, they're getting guys healthy. But for the time being, Fulgham looks like the guy that Carson Wentz is trusting right now, and he's producing. Another one, for whatever reason, T. Higgins is still out there on in a bunch of leagues, and he's somebody that needs to be rostered. He's putting up consistent points. He had a 20-point game against one of the best defenses in the league. So you like the production he gets. He's getting the targets. So he needs to be picked up. And Christian Kirk seems like he's a benefactor to attention going to DeAndre Hopkins, kind of like a Will Fuller. It seems like Will Fuller's production was because DeAndre Hopkins was there. Well, Christian Kirk had a big game against Dallas, and Dallas we know has a pretty bad defense, but it's multiple games in a row where he's been more of a standout guy as a number 2 receiver, getting the ball a little more, and he's fast. He can blow off the top of any defense. So I like Christian Kirk, and he's available in too many leagues for my liking. Also, Tim Patrick, he's on the Broncos, even against a tough Patriots defense, and Drew Lock didn't have the greatest game. He was still able to get double-digit points, and as consistent as that is, I like that as somebody you throw in as a fill. Maybe as the year goes on, the offense can get healthier and get better. But I like him as at least as a flex option to fill in for bye weeks and injuries and stuff. And the last receiver here is going to be Keaton Cole. I mentioned him earlier in the year, and then DJ Chark came back and had a big game, so I thought he was going to take the number one. But Gardner just seems to trust Keelan Cole a lot, and so that's somebody that should be picked up in leagues. He's rostered in just over 50% of leagues, ESPN leagues. So that's the last receiver I have on the list.
Yeah, so I definitely agree with you on the Keelan Cole, Christian Kirk, T. Higgins for sure. I don't understand. You made that call weeks ago about T. Higgins being productive, and Travis Fulgham, absolutely. The last 2 weeks, he's had 23 targets, been balling out. So if he's there, snag him. He went against the Ravens and the Steelers and had 23 targets, and then I think he has the Giants next and some other shitty teams. So definitely pick him up if he's available. If you need another receiver, because he's one of the top guys in the league right now when it comes to fantasy. All right, tight ends. You got any tight ends you're looking at picking up on the wire this week?
Yeah, there are a couple of them. Richard Rodgers. We know Zach Ertz is going to be out. I think it's 3 to 4 weeks is what's expected. So in the meantime, Richard Rodgers is going to be the starter. The Eagles play on Thursday, and Dallas Goddard is probably not gonna. He's going to come off IR, but he's probably not going to be ready for this Thursday game. So Dallas Goddard, if he's available, I like him too. Maybe not this week. Maybe you wait till next week if you're going to have a higher waiver pick. But whether it's Richard Rodgers or Dallas Goddard, somebody's got to get the production at the tight end spot there in Philly. And then Trey Burton, if he came with Frank Reich to Indianapolis from Philadelphia, and he was hurt to begin the year. So he's out there in a lot of leagues right now, but he just had a good week for the Colts. Was a big part of that comeback against the Bengals. So somebody's going to get him, and he's going to be probably one of the higher priority picks this week. So go out there, grab him, and also Gronk. Gronk kind of looked like he was back, right? He's a little slower, but he was making plays, and Tom's going to him again ever since OJ Howard went down. It seems like Tom is perfectly fine with checking it down or hitting Gronk in the middle for 8 to 10 yards, letting him get a couple yards after the catch. So to repeat the list of tight ends there, that's Richard Rodgers, Dallas Goddard, Gronkowski, and Trey Bird.
Yeah, I really like the Burton pickup. I mean, we're Colts fans, so obviously we're watching the game every single week. And luckily enough, last week I was able to pick up Trey Burton, and it paid off because he had a huge game last weekend. So definitely pick him up. Jack Doyle, his stock is on the decline quick. Not, I like Jack Doyle. He's an Indianapolis guy, but he is not playing well. He fumbled on the second play of the game last week. So their attention is definitely going to be going to Trey Burton. And then, of course, Gronk's Gronk. You never know what he can do. May have just taken him 6 weeks to get healthy or get back into the flow of things. You never know. So he could return to form. And, of course, Richard Rodgers, Dallas Goedert, Carson Wentz loves this tight end, so you can never go wrong there either. So, all right, that wraps up our waiver wire picks. Let's move on to must starts. Obviously, you have your top of the league, cream of the crop guys. You're always going to start. We're always talking about that next tier guys and the people kind of in between that you have to put in there due to matchups and such. So, who you got starting in the running backs?
Yeah, and again, with the bye weeks coming in, these lower tier guys are what we want to focus on to let you know who to fill in for your guy that's on a bye. And I've mentioned it before, but I like Antonio Gibson in this matchup. They're playing the Cowboys. The Cowboys have a horrible defense, right? And so you just expect that somehow, some way, the Cowboys are going to put themselves in an uncomfortable position, and the Washington football team is going to be able to move the ball some way, somehow. And I wouldn't be surprised if they went with more of a running attack here and kind of abuse that. I also like Devin Singletary. The Bills are playing the Jets, and You like most of the key guys on any team that's playing the Jets, right? They're bound to put up 3, 4, 5 touchdowns, whatever. So I like Devin Singletary here. It's gonna be a good bounce back type of game. They needed some kind of punish them kind of opponent that they can come in and dominate, get some self confidence back, work on some stuff maybe in the second half when they build a lead. And they definitely need to work on that run game. And I think that's going to happen here against the Jets. So I like Devin Singletary. And then moving on to DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift finally had the kind of game that people thought he could, and we don't know what the game flow is going to be like coming up and this and that. But if they keep using him instead of going to Adrian Peterson, Swift showed that he could be the more explosive back. He can do all the things that they want him to do. So hopefully they keep him in that role and he can be the lead back and work himself to a workhorse kind of back. Maybe the Lions can become more of a contender with that, which is more of a preview show kind of thing. But that's all to say that I like DeAndre Swift this weekend. And also Justin Jackson. I mentioned go pick him up on the waivers. As long as he's the lead back, then I like him as a starter this week.
Yeah, for sure. And definitely DeAndre Swift. I think he finally broke out of his shell, like you said, and I think he's going to do pretty well. Take over for as a lead back over Adrian Peterson, who's 80 years old by now. But I can't believe that guy's still playing. All right, moving on to wide receivers. Who are your must-start receivers this week?
Yeah, so this week I like Odell Beckham Jr. It's somebody that I'm not always particularly high on, right? But they're playing the Bengals here, and the Bengals can be taken advantage of. As much as I like William Jackson, he gets burned too often to be in the elite tier or near the elite tier anymore. And so I like OBJ this weekend. I think the Browns are going to have a really big day against the Bengals. And Kenny Galladay, maybe the most slept on receiver in the league. Obviously, people that play fantasy know the name, but because he plays on the Lions, I don't think too many people out there really talk about him. But Kenny Galladay, really shouldn't be on this list. He produces, basically 15 plus every week for you. So I like Kenny Galladay here in Terry McLaurin. After a not so good week, they come back. He has a good week here against, a decent. I think he had 14 points against the Giants. So Terry McLaurin, he's getting the targets. He's had at least 7 targets in every game this year. So as long as the volume's there, then I think the production will be there. Also, Chase Claypool, I think he's taken over more as the number one there. They've kind of pushed Juju back into a slot role with all the depth they have there at receiver. And that's where Juju flourishes, but Juju's production has literally gone down in every game this year. And sure, he had 2 catches for 6 yards. His production can really only go up from there. But I don't think he's going to be, that key guy in the offense. I think he's going to be more of a second or third option. Chase Claypool has shown amazing athletic ability, and he's 6'4". If Ben just wants to throw it up, he can throw it up to this guy 30, 40, 50 yards down the field, and he can go up and get it. So I like Chase Claypool here. And kind of more bearish on Juju. We already mentioned Travis Fulgham and T. Higgins picking them up on the waivers if they're available. If they're available, then they should be started. The volume they're getting right now is exactly what you want. So they should at least be in a flex spot in pretty much every week.
Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely hoping Kenny Galladay breaks out, has a good game because I have him on one of my teams. But he should. He's always consistent, huge impact. I expect him to get the ball. I expect him to do good things. Same thing with Terry McLaurin. I know he's on Washington, but he gets his. And Chase Claypool, I've said it before. You know why he's so good?
Notre Dame.
But it's true. I mean, what can you say? And Odell Beckham Jr., Yeah, I'm not real big on Odell, but he's one of those guys that at any given week he could just explode and have a huge game. I have Landry, so I'm hoping Landry will do that, but the way he's been looking, who knows? So, all right, moving on to must avoid players, the guys you need to have on the bench this week, or you're just wasting the spot where you could be getting points. Let's start with the running backs. We'll go running backs first. Who you avoiding on the running back list?
So this week, we've talked a lot in the past about James Robinson and how surprising he is, and it doesn't matter how bad the Jags are, he just kind of seems to get his. But I think this is going to be one of the outlier weeks. This Chargers defense isn't one to play around with. They have everything, from defensive line to linebackers to the corners to the safeties, and they seem to be able to do everything and do everything at a pretty elite level. So I don't like James Robinson here. I just don't think it's going to be a day for him to get going. I also don't like David Johnson here. They're going against the Packers. I think the Packers are going to come out looking to really put a beating on whoever they played. I don't care who came after that loss to the Bucks. They could be playing the Chiefs. I think they would come out and put an absolute beating down. But I think that this defense, even though it can be exposed through the running game, I don't think the Texans have a good enough offensive line to be the one to come out here and do it to them. So I don't like David Johnson here. And Daryl Henderson, if you're one of the people that have taken a chance on Daryl Henderson over the last couple weeks, since he came back in the lineup, he has been more of their bell cow. Cam Akers didn't even touch the ball this week, but I just don't like the matchup, and with the committee system that they're running already, Daryl Henderson needs to sit.
Yeah, I agree with you. Definitely on David Johnson. This dude has not produced at all this season. I think the first game he had a great game, but ever since then, absolutely horrible. Been rushing 20 times a game, can't even get 20 yards. Avoid David Johnson, especially this week. If I was the guru, I'd say avoid him every week, but I'm not. So maybe Jeff will have a surprise for you in store next week. Who knows? But all right, move on to wide receivers. Who you avoiding this week?
So this one might surprise people a little bit, but there's a good reason. Okay, I think Tyreek Hill needs to sit this week, and it's not just because he had one down game and da 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 da, but he's had 4 games this year where he has 6 targets. This last game he had 3, and they were running the ball a lot in this last game, but either way he only had 3 targets, and now they're bringing Le'Veon Bell in, and you would expect that, especially with Sammy Watkins hurt, they'll line Le'Veon Bell up out wider in the slot. He'll get some targets out of the backfield at some point and eat away at some of those targets. And I think that they're gonna want to make a point to get Le'Veon involved, to let him do the things that he does well. And I think Patrick Mahomes is going to try to get him the ball. I think Andy Reid is going to try to draw some things up to get him the ball. So all that production going to somebody else is going to take away from Tyreek Hill. So I would stay away from him this week. Also, Allen Robinson, they play the Rams, so he's going to be locked up by Jalen Ramsey, and he's been playing exceptionally well this year. So, as good as Allen Robinson is, I think Jalen Ramsey can get the better of him. So sit Allen Robinson. I already mentioned Juju. Go ahead and sit him this week. I don't think it'll be a week that you're going to need to start him. Also, this Bears defense has been playing crazy, right? So I think sitting Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp is the right idea here, which is unfortunate because I like both of them a lot. But this Rams team has just been too inconsistent, and this Bears defense is too good. So I would say sit both of them and Julian Edelman. Julian Edelman just hasn't been putting up the production. He's almost droppable at this point if you can go out and find one of the better guys right now. So Edelman, just leave him on the bench for the time being. I also want to add here that Matt Ryan, he had one or two down weeks there at the end of the Dan Quinn era, but Matt Ryan for the most part has been putting up a lot of points as long as Julio's there. He's one of the top 5, top 10 quarterbacks in the league, and he showed it again yesterday. They played exceptionally well, and going forward, I think they're going to have to pass a lot, and Matt Ryan should be a good option, and also Carson Wentz. Even though Carson's been turning the ball over a little bit, you know, it just doesn't seem to matter. He throws the touchdowns, he's getting the yards. They've been passing a lot. They have to pass a lot, and so if he's throwing the ball 40, 45 times and getting 3 touchdowns, over 300 yards and stuff like that, then he's at least going to get you 20 points. So he's more of a like a, if you need a guy to fill in for a bye week, or if your quarterback gets hurt, whatever the case may be, then he's a guy to pick up if you need him.
Yeah, the Edelman thing's interesting because I have him in one of my leagues, and he started off playing decently well, but that Patriots offense, everything just runs through Cam Newton, and he's not spreading the ball as well as Tom Brady did last year. So I agree with you. It's probably about time for me to drop Edelman because like I said, I got him in one of my leagues. And Tyreek Hill, it's hard not to start him. So, but they don't call you the fantasy guru for no reason. So maybe somebody will take your advice and it'll pay off because you've hit countless times throughout the course of this season. So we'll see. All right, that pretty much wraps it up. You got anything else you want to say before we start to get out of here?
Nah. I don't think there's really anything. Just do the best you can. Don't blame me for your loss. Okay, you are in charge of what you do.
Well, damn, just throwing it out there like that. All right. Well, there you have it. Fantasy Guru Jeffe spitting out the week 7 wire claims, the must starts, and the players to avoid. So, all right. Yeah, I'll go ahead and repeat what I said earlier. We are giving away a free NFL authentic jersey from the NFL shop on us. All you have to do, head over to our YouTube channel, help us out, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you never miss a video that comes up. You'll be automatically entered in to win this jersey. Once we hit 1,000, we're going to be giving it away. So help us out. We really appreciate it. We need your guys' support. We do this in our spare time. It's a little fun project. We love doing it and we'll continue to do it, but we have to have the support, and a simple gesture such as going over, subscribing goes a long way. So help us out. We'll return the favor with a jersey giveaway at 1,000 subscribers. And it's really all we got for you today. So we appreciate you. Check out our Facebook, Twitter page at Horsemen Sports. And we will see you again Tuesday on the next Horsemen Pro Football Talk episode. See ya.